All right, Matt. We are finally reunited once
The
again.
gang is
The
back.
gang is back. It's been what, like a month? Has it been like a month since our last like
Well,
podcast
you
together?
were gone for 2 weeks. I was gone for last week, so
Yeah,
three
so
weeks.
yeah. Okay, well, finally got back on schedule right for kind of our home stretch here for season two of Fan and the Fanatic. Um, Wrapping up after finals. But since we haven't been together in a minute, I figured kind of explain how, what we've been up to. We kind of brushed over it. I was in Japan. It was fun. Got to see a couple friends I haven't seen in a while. Our boy Hayato playing up there. I ate really good. Got to go to Tokyo Disney Sea, Matt, by the way. Uh, I know you're a big Disney guy. Have you been to Disney
Lucky
Sea?
you.
Have you been to Disney Sea?
I have. I've been 3 times.
You've been three times to
Three
Disney Sea.
times.
Oh my goodness. So, just as the Disney savant that you are, what is your rating of Tokyo Disney Sea? I'm kind of curious.
Tokyo Disney Sea. Well, I haven't been in a while, but I would say the Disney area over there was probably my favorite. If I'm comparing California, which I've been
Hmm.
to kind of a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and also Shanghai. Shanghai was
Mm.
definitely the worst for me.
Okay.
But Tokyo Disney was pretty bomb,
Yeah.
I would
It
say.
it was pretty cool because we actually
The
stayed at
food
the
too.
yeah, the food was really good. There were drinks. Like I didn't know there were gonna be so many drinks at Disney Sea. It's kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting that, but we stayed at like the Disneyland Hotel, and you can just catch like the monorail or whatever thing to get to all the parks super easy, super fast. The weather was not too bad. It was like overcast. Luckily, we didn't get rained on, but I mean, it was pretty good. It was like less rides at Disney Sea. It was more like eating, like all the little like booths and stuff, and drinking from all the little like different cocktails or beers and stuff. I wasn't expecting. I don't know. I was expecting more rides, but I guess yeah, more food and drinks. But I don't know. I liked it. It wasn't too bad
How do you
there.
not like Disney? That's my question.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, that was fun. Got to go to like the Universal Japan one as well. I thought that one was not too bad. The rides, there were more like intense rides at the Universal than like Disney Sea, but it was like Harry Potter World, there was like a Jurassic Park area, Mario. It was like a lot of like nostalgia stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, the
For like
Mario
those
Land is
rides.
new, right? Isn't that
Mhm.
new?
Yeah, I think so. It was pretty busy when we went. A lot of families and yeah, it was cool. Like it was a cool experience. A lot of walking both days though. My feet were like so tired. And everyone says like, "Oh, when you go to Japan, you better be prepared to do a lot of walking, And you never really understand until you like get there and you're just walking everywhere or you catch the trains everywhere. Like I still have on my like the back of my
Blisters.
heel. Yeah, I have a blister. I have a blister that hasn't gone away yet from from just walking. Like I had to get a band-aid like 4 days into the trip because I was like Kurt Schilling bleeding through my sock from this blister. But like by the end of my time since I was gone 2 weeks, like after the first week, my legs were completely fine. Like I got used to it. So it was pretty good. Um I got I think at some point everyone got like a little sick somehow, just like being on the go all the time. I was really sad though, because the one day like I had like stomach issues or whatever. I missed like the all you can eat Wagyu place that everyone went to. I was so sad. That was like the one food place I was looking forward to eating with
You didn't
everyone.
push through and
I could
try
like
to dig deep.
I don't know if it was I really didn't know what it was. Like a gas prop. I have no idea, but I couldn't get out of bed. Like physically, I was like nauseous and like sore at the same time. It was terrible. It was probably for like 12, 16 hours. and I just sat in the Airbnb by myself, like trying to sleep it off. I just couldn't move. It was the worst. Um, but you know what? The rest of the trip was fine. Can't complain. Did a lot of shopping. The yen was good, so I brought back some stuff. Got you a nice little present for your birthday. So I'll show you that a little bit later. But yeah, it was pretty good stuff. I don't know. I enjoyed it. Definitely already looking forward to going back, and we'll have a little bit better Japanese speaking practice down. I think because like I got around, but if I could have spoken a little bit more, I think it would have just made the trip that much easier. Like you can communicate with like hotel staff a little bit easier, like your waiters or your waitresses a little bit more, you know? Um, but other than that, overall, it was a pretty good trip, so can't complain. But yeah, how's yours? You just pretty freshly back, so I know I saw you're already
Yeah.
playing baseball. You're already
I ran
at the
into
second.
Randy at the
Yeah, I heard.
field.
I heard you're at the second string game already. So I guess that I don't know if you talked about it in the previous pod, but that kind of solves the no clue versus second string debate for summer of 2023, huh?
Yeah, when you were gone, I committed to
Oh, okay.
second string officially. So I came off the plane and went straight to
You're
go as
kidding
the
me.
next. Well, in a way, because I came back Saturday night and then we had a game
Okay.
Sunday morning at
Yeah,
9.
9
So
a.m. I
didn't do
respect
so
it.
well. A little rusty, but
It's the first game. Everyone's gonna be a little rusty. It's
yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. But how was your trip
But
though?
it was worth the suffering at
Mm-hmm.
OBL to watch Aaron Judge do his thing. I mean, that game in Seattle, I went to the game and I was texting you.
Mm-hmm.
Dude hit 2 home runs that game.
2 home runs.
Like I couldn't even believe, like I thought I was like dreaming. That's how in shock I was that he actually hit not one but 2 home runs. So that was awesome. And then the Dodger Stadium, you can't beat Yankees Dodgers, whether it's in Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium. I mean, just the atmosphere. It was the largest crowd of the year for the Dodgers, I think. So it's just the vibes are good. Once the first inning started, kind of changed a little bit. Sevy wasn't so hot that day, but it's still pretty cool to see so much star power. Judge, Stanton came back, and then you got Mookie who didn't get out that game, which is
Yeah, he was on fire that
ridiculous.
game.
Freddie, Monty goes deep, so it was awesome. And then I gotta go Disney, right? If I'm in LA, so we both went to Disney over our trip.
Mm-hmm.
Very successful.
All right. Well, glad we both had good vacations. We're back now, ready to finish up this home stretch. So, you know what? Let's just get into some of the basketball since it's pretty much the biggest thing to talk about right now, right? Finals officially kicked off. Game 1 and 2 now in the books. Series is tied at 1. We'll go game by game. Just talk about it each one a little bit. So, start with that game 1, Matt. And I know you said you heard a little bit of my or heard the pod where I was talking about keys for Denver and keys for Miami. And I thought, over the first 2 games, we saw both of the things I was kind of talking about, right? So game 1, Denver comes out on top, and it was really, I thought was, you know, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, those 2 guys using kind of their size against whoever Miami was going to throw at them, and really took advantage of that. Those guys, were pretty efficient. Jokic doing his thing, triple double, and Jamal Murray also, contributing there. And when all of them, I think, are on the same page, that offense is flowing, it's really tough. I think it's really, really tough for any team to stop them. But I think that, in a nutshell, for me, that game 1 was more to do with the fact that those other guys got involved, and Jimmy also had a pretty off game. Didn't I think he only had 13 points in game 1, pretty rare. Bam and Gabe Vincent were doing a lot of the heavy lifting on offense. So yeah, I don't know. I thought Denver really came out hot. they're at home. They were the more rested team. I think they kind of showed that in game one, but I don't know, Matt. Did you have any other takeaways from that game one?
Well, I think for the Heat, I mean, I didn't really watch this game. I was on vacation, but when I look at the stats, it's like they shot two free throws the whole game. That's a little concerning. And if you're an underdog, that's the way you kind of, stay around, you kind of linger around late in the game. How to keep the game close is at the free throw line, getting easy buckets. And if you shoot two free throws the entire game, uh, like I think you're just not being aggressive, honestly, and getting to the basket. So Jimmy Butler, Bam. I know Bam had a nice game stat wise. I think he had his best offensive game of the playoffs, which is huge. But those two guys got to be aggressive, especially Jimmy Butler, though. That's the key for me. But in game one, it was it was all about Jokic. That dude he's
Is he the best player in the world,
I
Matt?
I'm a
We've been on the
Giannis
Giannis.
fan,
Yeah, we've been on the Giannis
but
train.
I don't know. I think I might have to jump on the Jokic bandwagon now. I mean, this dude is just unstoppable. And I think it's his greatest skill set. 14 assists. That was the key to me. And we can talk about this in game two, but Jokic with his 14 assists, getting guys like Aaron Gordon the ball early. He was the guy that kind of set the tone for them to start the game. You could tell he was just bullying his way inside against Jimmy, Gabe Vincent, all those small guys from Miami. And then Michael Porter asserting himself with his 13 rebounds, using the size. Murray had an efficient scoring night. So it was really just kind of Jokic playmaking, getting everybody easy baskets. So when that happens, the Nuggets are tough to beat. So it's kind of like you got to pick your poison. And game two, we can talk about that in a bit, but was a little different. But that was for me the key for game one. It was like the lack of aggression from Miami and Jokic's ability to just kind of get everybody involved and get easy buckets.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. Why don't we just we'll just jump right into that game too. So, couple adjustments. I thought, I really mainly watched the fourth quarter, which was, I mean, was
Me
crazy. It
too.
was a crazy fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But you brought up the Jokic assist, and I think you wanted to talk about this because, right, you can't take away everything from Jokic, right? He's just too good. Two-time, arguably could have been another, three-time MVP in this league for a reason. It's his ability to do everything: score, pass, rebound. Like you said, you think passing is his greatest asset. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue there with how efficient he is passing the ball. But, you know, Miami said, okay, we're going to take something away. And they said, we're not going to let anyone else kind of get into a rhythm. Um, right. He only had 4 assists, which is really low for him. I mean, he dropped 41 points, but, uh, maybe that's the
It
key
was
to
a one-man
success.
team
Yeah, maybe that is going to be the key for Miami moving forward. It's you realize you can't, stop and take everything away from this Denver team, but maybe, the game plan that they came up with was, okay, we're not going to let these other guys get going, right? It's going to be the Jokic and Murray pick and roll pretty much, and let them just get twos off of it. We're not going to let their shooters get hot early, let guys cut and slash to the basket as much. And I mean, lo and behold, it did work out for them. Miami was able to come up with the victory. Although the game was insane. I mean, the lead changes both ways. I thought,
Yeah.
midway, even 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I was like, all right, this game's cooked. Let's go on to Miami. 1-1. Miami made the good adjustment. And yet the Nuggets showed you why, like, they are considered the heavy favorites in this matchup, because you just it's like you blink and Jamal Murray hits a three, Aaron Gordon hits a three, Jokic gets an easy bucket. Wait, we went from being what, down
Down to
12
three.
to like down three. It's like, wait, what's going on? All of a sudden, right? So, um, and still got a good, decent look at the end. I mean, it was a tough shot, but he had space. It was a decent shot. I think you live with that shot if you're the Nuggets from Jamal Murray, right? Little step back three over Jimmy. Uh, just hit the front rim. Who knows? Maybe I mean that could have easily gone in, and we go to overtime, and maybe Denver pulls it out. 2-0. It's a completely different series, but I think it's going to be a good series. Going the rest of the way. I know you're a little nervous with your prediction because now Denver's going to have to win 3 straight games. Might be a little interesting. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but the other thing I wanted to add too was, like I said last week, I think Miami is gonna have to shoot the three efficiently, right? To even have a chance to be um in contention with the Nuggets. And lo and behold, what do they do? Make 17 threes on 48.5% shooting. And you know what? They did all that, 18 free throws, 90% for as a team, and they still only won by 3. Like, you think about that, it's kind of crazy. I think that speaks a lot to how good Denver is as a team because you shoot 48.5% from three, 17 made threes, 18 free throws. Like to only win by 3, I don't know. I think Denver's probably still feeling pretty good about their chances going forward because you don't expect, you know, Miami to shoot it at that clip every single night. I mean, even if they shot, 40, 41, 42%, it's a completely different game, right? So
They'd lose.
yeah, they would have lost. So it's gonna be real interesting going forward to see if Miami can stay consistent with their shot selection and getting good looks because I think Denver is gonna make some kind of adjustment. I'm not really sure moving forward what they're gonna the adjustment's gonna be, but I'm looking forward to the game on Wednesday because I think it'll be a good one. But yeah, man, I don't know. What do you think of that game too?
Well, this game was a little strange because you don't normally see Jokic go crazy with the scoring. It was like every time he was getting the ball, he was kind of looking to score. And it's like, normally you don't see this kind of aggression from Jokic, but I think it's credit to Miami's defense for really taking away everybody else. Game one, Aaron Gordon was going early, Michael Porter was hitting key shots here and there. Jamal Murray was very efficient. Bruce Brown, he comes off the bench, gives you a spark. So kind of everybody was doing a little bit of something in that game one, and Jokic was really just dishing it out to whoever. But in game two, it was they took everything away for the other guys. So got to take something away. We're going to take away Jokic's passing ability. Maybe let him score 40, 50 points, but we're not going to let the other guys get involved and beat us. So I don't know. If I'm Miami, I think that's the strategy to beat Denver, obviously. If the other guys are, cooking, they're going to be tough because Jokic is going to do his thing regardless. So let's take away everybody else and make Jokic do everything himself. And that's not the way that he wants to play, and that's not the way Denver wants to play. So if I'm Miami, I'm focusing on Jamal Murray because that's the guy who's, you could say, the determining X factor in this series. Like if he plays well, I think Denver
Yeah, good
would win
luck.
every game. Yeah, they're gonna win easily. But you take him away, now you give yourself a puncher's chance to me. And they were blitzing him like off the pick and roll. They were double teaming him. It wasn't Jokic, it was Jamal Murray. They were trapping him, getting the ball out of his hands. So I thought that was a very interesting strategy by Miami and a very smart one. Very good adjustment by Spoelstra. So I think they're gonna keep doing that. Um, but yeah, I think Denver now has to kind of, go back and reset. So how are they gonna get the other guys involved? Because I don't know. In a way, yes, Jokic can do it, but that's not the way they want to play. They got to get back to getting other guys open. So I also want to give a shout out to Eric Spoelstra. I mean, this dude,
Yep,
our fellow
time and time
pilot,
again.
our pilot alum, I mean, the adjustments that he makes is crazy, crazy. And I want to talk about Duncan Robinson because, in the first 3 quarters of this game, he had nothing. He really just was not even involved. And Max Strus had a horrible game one, couldn't make a shot. But game two, he comes out aggressive, had a really hot start for them, kind of set the tone for them in game two. But he basically goes away from Strus, who had the hot hand early, and you play Duncan Robinson in the fourth quarter with basically your season on the line in a sense. And what does he do? He gives you 10 points off the bat to start the quarter. He was hitting the deep threes. He's driving the basketball now, which is something that
He's
he
cutting.
was
Yeah,
not
he's attacking the
right. He was
basket.
that wasn't in his game when he was first in the league. And even, maybe a year or two ago, he was strictly a catch and shoot 3-point shooter off the screen, off the dribble. But he's added so much to his game. And for Spo to really have confidence in him in that moment that's just good coaching. And you just know your players really well. So I want to shout out Spo for really just doing all the things right and pushing all the right buttons. But yeah, that was one thing I noticed about Miami is Spoelstra, man. This dude can win with anybody, I swear.
I mean, how many undrafted players do they have
Got
on their roster? Eight.
Vincent, Robinson,
Like they have
Struess,
like Struce, yeah, all these guys. Caleb Martin is
Martin.
undrafted.
Yeah,
All these guys getting a lot of playing time too, and yeah, I don't know if you heard when I was talking about it, but to me, Spoelstra is like Mike Tomlin.
yeah.
Like that similarity to me.
He's just a winner.
Just winner, consistent. Will good cultures, and yeah, I mean, it makes me proud, right, to be a University of Portland alum when
Me too.
Spoelstra's always going to be there. Um, but yeah, and Gabe Vincent too. I thought he's had two really good games for Miami. I think he's like been their best scorer as a guard. So yeah, it's just who's gonna step up for Miami. It seems like everyone is gonna have kind of a different night. Struce, Vincent, you got Caleb Martin, now Duncan Robinson stepping up big. Kyle Lowry got a lot more minutes. They started Kevin Love, who I thought was gonna
That's
have to
another
play.
adjustment.
I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna have to play. I think I did mention that on my pod last week because just purely the size. I didn't know if he could, stay with Michael Porter or Aaron Gordon, but just a little bit more size in the to help protect the paint a little bit, I think would help. So yeah, I don't know. It's been an entertaining 2 games so far, Matt, but let's say moving forward now, the series is gonna shift to Miami. We won't have that elevation issue that they were kind of everyone's kind of been talking about. So now back home in Miami obviously has the momentum, but I don't know. This is I think Denver is feeling pretty good about their chances as well, just because how they were able to close out that game too, coming all the way back. But I don't know. Let's start with the Nuggets, Matt. So I don't know. Does anything really have to change? I know you said they want figuring out how to get Jamal Murray more involved, but you know, game plan wise, do you think any adjustments, big adjustments, are going to have to be made?
Honestly, I don't think so because you're gonna obviously tweak things here and there. You lost. Something went wrong. So you're gonna tweak things here and there, but I'm not gonna overcomplicate things because if I'm the Nuggets, I'm thinking, you know, Jamal Murray was kind of off. Maybe towards the late of the game he got going, but everybody was a little bit off that game outside of Jokic. But I'm gonna count on Jokic at least giving us a quality game. Like that's just how good he is at this point. And Miami comes out, like you said, they shot 48% from three, 90% from the free throw line. I think they missed like 5 shots in the fourth quarter. They made their first maybe 10 or 11 shots, and they only won by three. And you had a chance to tie the game on the last possession. Now, that's kind of like almost a perfect game for Miami. And you guys, as Denver, you turning the ball over uncharacteristically by Jokic. I think he had a couple bad passes in the fourth. It's like, ooh, like Jokic doesn't do that. So it took the perfect game to beat you, and you lost by 3. I'm feeling okay. I'm not gonna panic. Like I said, I think the only thing they need to do is just figure out a way to get Murray going early. I think Miami knows that he's kind of the head of the snake now, that if they can take him away, they got a shot. So if I'm trying to get Jamal Murray going fast, and if he gets going early in the first quarter, I think Denver's gonna win pretty handily, honestly. So just tweaking things here and there, but nothing too crazy. I think Denver is still the better team in this situation.
I think so as well. And maybe the one player that I think I'm gonna look to have a better game three for the Nuggets is KCP. Not just, we know he can be a streaky shooter, but got into foul trouble early in that game too. He eventually fouled out, and a couple, I think he had 2 fouls on 3-point shots, which is pretty uncharacteristic for him, considering he is like, you think 3 and D, like he's one of those like key 3 and D players
Yeah,
in the league, right? So you expect good defense from him, and I think him getting in foul trouble kind of messed things up a little bit for them. But I look to him, and he can guard any one of those 4 really undrafted guys that can give you problems, whether it's Struce, Vincent, Martin, or Robinson. Like, you put KCP on them, uh, he's gonna make it difficult for those guys, for one of those guys to get up shots, right? So that's my only thing. I'm expecting a better defensive game from him. Any offense you can get from him obviously is going to be a plus, but I would expect a little bit better of a defensive performance from KCP moving forward. But other than that, I agree with you. You're Denver. I don't think major game plan tweaks are going to have to be made. So I don't know. I like it. I like. I still like Denver's chances to win the series. I still think they win in 6, but um, I don't know. On the flip side, though, Miami, they're still in it. The series isn't over. It's 1-1 now. It's a whole new series, right? So Miami, moving forward, Jimmy's been hasn't been himself, I would say, in the first 2 games. So maybe figure out a way to get Jimmy going a little bit. And even, we go back to that Eastern Conference series. He kind of struggled, right, in those 3 games until kind of that game 7. And so the Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy hype has kind of simmered down a little bit, I think. Um, but they were able to get the win. I don't know, Matt. What I think you gotta somehow get Jimmy going. I don't know what it is, but he's gonna need to have like a big 30-point game, I think, for Miami in one of these next 2 games for Miami really to have a chance, because as good as Bam is, as good as the other guys are, right? Jimmy is the superstar. We know this. He's the superstar of Miami, and we're gonna need one of those playoff Jimmy type of performances, I think. But just hasn't been able to get going. So I think that's gonna be what I'm looking forward to for game 3. It's how I think Spoelstra's gonna want to get him going early, try to get him easy looks early, not force him to shoot the 3 as much, because he's like an
he's a
average three
mid-range
point.
guy.
Yeah, but his
Yeah,
his mid range is definitely a much better shot for him than the 3. So I don't know. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it, but I would look to try to get Jimmy going early, get his confidence and you know that type of stuff going early. But I don't know. What do you think for Miami?
I mean, I think if Miami wants to win the series, Jimmy Butler has to be playoff Jimmy. But I don't know if you heard, like, I think he's having some family issues. I think his
Mm.
dad is not doing too well. That's what that's what Skip Bayless said on Undisputed today. So he was the one that reported that. So, that show is kind of having some some issues as well, but we can talk about that maybe next week. But, Jimmy, I think he's been struggling lately, but I don't know. I see it more as they beat Boston, and Jimmy really wasn't himself through the last 3 games, and somehow they beat Boston when it counted. So I think they can still compete But I'm looking at a guy and call me crazy, but Duncan Robinson, I think if he can get going and be a little more consistent, maybe not a whole game, but maybe a half. I think he's pretty deadly in terms of
He
his
can be.
ability to shoot the
Hmm.
basketball. And I thought it was so strange that, watching that fourth quarter when he was getting going, they were blitzing him. It was like almost like how Miami was guarding Murray. Like Robinson comes off the screen from Bam and they trap him. It's like he's Jimmy Butler or Jokic or Murray. Like, they're treating him like a superstar in a way. And he makes the extra pass to Bam, and then they play, 3-on-2 from there. So it's almost like watching Steph play, right? From the Warriors with that high pick and roll with Draymond. They trap him, you pass it to the big that can pass, and he makes a play from there. So in a way, it's like, if Duncan Robinson gets going, KCP is gonna have to guard him. Like, I don't know. Maybe I personally would want KCP spending a little more effort on Jimmy Butler than Duncan Robinson, but I don't know. I think if Duncan Robinson can get going early and be a little more consistent throughout the course of a game, he kind of changes how you play defense against the Heat, because that's going to open up Bam and his ability to pass, and you can play 3-on-2 from there. So, but if Robinson's not hitting a shot, one, he's not going to be in the game. Two, you're not going to trap him so hard and aggressive, so you can get back on defense. So I think his ability to shoot is going to be a huge factor, especially going home. So I'm looking for Duncan Robinson to kind of get going a little bit. If he can give you like 15, you guys have got a good Miami's got a good shot to win some games, I think. Even if Jimmy doesn't give you a virtuoso.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like the Duncan Robinson point because the Heat he got kind of he got benched actually. He was one of their marquee guys,
He was out
obviously,
of the
right?
rotation.
Out of the rotation. We remember, he had a pretty good bubble run though. That's what got him the big contract, got him paid, right? He was impressive. Then haven't heard too much of him. Faded out of the rotation this year. Of course, Spoelstra would throw him in, and then he starts to flourish again. But I like the point where you made that, he is really the pure shooter you have to worry about on that team because, Vincent, Struess, they can shoot too, but they're not like you don't like consider them a 3-point specialist per se, right? They can shoot, um,
Yeah.
but when you think Duncan Robinson, it's like, oh, he's the 3-point shooter, like that's what he is to that team, right? So I like that point you brought up because yeah, that's how Miami was getting like such easy buckets in that fourth quarter because you just get Bam the ball kind of in that open space middle of the paint area, and he can make a pass off that. So that's a good point. I like that Duncan Robinson point. Um, yeah, moving forward for the Heat, I think I could see him um making a big impact going forward. But it's funny. I just want to shout out Logan really quickly because his Bam Adebayo Heat in 7 pick is not as crazy as I thought it was at first. Because Bam has been probably the most consistent player
we
uh
we
for Miami. He hasn't shut down Jokic like offensively per se, but I will say, Logan, your Bam. If we were betting right now in Vegas, the odds would be shrinking for that specific pick that you made. Um, so yeah, gotta shout out
Logan
Logan
would
because he
cash
called it.
out big time.
Yeah, he
I'll
called
tell
it,
you
man.
that.
It so far it's not looking terrible. I mean, 1-1. Bam has been probably the most consistent player along with Vincent for Miami on offense. And you know what he brings defensively? He had a block, probably actually, well, it was a goaltend. They didn't call it, but that was a big block late on Murray, right? So you know what kind of defensive presence he has, and he had that big dunk too, and one late in that game. So yeah, I don't know, Logan. He just knows his basketball, especially when it comes to playoff
He just
basketball.
knows the heat.
Yeah, okay, and the Heat too. But I mean, even last year, right?
That's
The
like
whole
his one
Warriors.
of his three teams that he cheers for.
But it's like,
That's
last
true.
you remember
He did
last year,
pick the
right?
Warriors.
The Warriors, he had the Celtics, and I forgot who the other was, it Nuggets or something. And he was golden, or maybe it was Dallas, maybe I forget, but he had like three out of the four teams predicted at like he was gonna cash out either way. So it didn't matter. I'm like, dang man, I just need to listen to Logan um for that stuff. But yeah, okay. Well, I still like Denver. I'm sure you still like Denver. Maybe not in five anymore, but yeah, I still like Denver's chances going forward. So we'll check in on that game on Wednesday and see how it goes. But okay, other than that, Matt, since we're done with basketball, why don't we just take a quick break here, uh, cut it off, and then we'll get to some baseball stuff on the other side. So everyone, stick around. Okay, Matt. That'll wrap our basketball stuff. So let's get to some baseball. As usual, it's now June. Um, still no reason for any overreactions in baseball. I'll just say, considering, especially now, considering how both of our teams have been doing. I know you were panicking earlier. You must be feeling a lot better now, but I'll let you start it off with the Yankees. You already talked a little bit about the vacation thing, but why don't you just give your in-depth Yankees update, especially since you got to go to a couple games.
Yeah, well, I went to one game in Seattle, one game in LA. That just so happened to be the two series that the Yankees had this past week. But overall, a very successful West Coast trip. You win two out of three in Seattle, and then you win two out of three against the Dodgers in LA.
Ooh, ooh.
Anytime you do that, that's a successful road trip. But starting with the Seattle series, I think you see Aaron Judge just put on an absolute clinic. At least the game that I went to, two home runs, a double, robs a home run from Teoscar Hernandez late in the game. I mean, just brilliant, just pure brilliance by Aaron Judge. And then, later in the series, kind of the same thing. Game two, Judge homers again. The Yankees, they score 10 runs back to back games. I don't remember the last time they did that all year. So the bats came out to play in Seattle. And that's a good thing, for the Yankees because, we are the Bronx Bombers, as my shirt says, Bronx Bombers. But, good series in Seattle. And then really the key was this Dodger series and not necessarily of, winning and losing, but it's like, how do we match up against a juggernaut on the road, tough place to play against a really good World Series contending team who just so happens to be your favorite team? But at least I get the bragging rights for now
You
for
do,
this
you do,
season.
you do.
For now, I hope to see the Dodgers again later in the season in
Yeah,
October
maybe.
or November.
Yeah, maybe that was the World Series preview we got right there. So you never know.
Yeah, I know, me too. But game one, of course, I go to the game in LA that they lose, but little, sour because the game was practically over after the first inning. Thanks a lot, Sevi. But I mean, outside of that first game, and really that first inning, the rest of the series was pretty good. Stanton comes back against the Dodgers. Josh Donaldson comes back. Tommy Kahnle comes back in the bullpen. So in a way, we got like a almost like a trade. You get three players that were out missing significant time, one making their season debut in Tommy Kahnle, and they all played in that game one, and they all performed really well. Stanton hit a home run, really looked like himself. Josh Donaldson was the surprising one. He was getting booed at Dodger Stadium by his own fans, not the Dodger fans, the Yankee fans. I was part of the
Classic
booing.
Yankees.
So
Classic Yankees fan.
I was part of the booing, I admit, but hey, I give him credit. He came out and put a charge into the lineup. He hit two home runs. I'm not saying he's going to do that every game, but he definitely needs to give us something offensively because that's why you're here, JD, not to play defense. You're bat. That's why you're in the lineup. You're hitting fourth. You're hitting fifth. You got to be a run producer, and a good start for him
Wait, I thought
coming off the IL.
didn't Bowers hit the home? I thought Bowers hit the home runs.
So Bowers hit the home run in game two
Oh, oh,
of
oh. He had two
the
because yeah, he
Dodgers
had
series.
two.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
Bowers actually he had a good game that I saw in Seattle. I think he hit two
Oh
home
yeah,
runs in
Donald.
Seattle too.
Oh yeah, Donaldson had two. I didn't even know he had two home runs. I just knew we won the game anyway, so I didn't even pay attention to how you guys scored. Okay, that
And
makes
he
more sense.
at least he hit it off Kershaw. So it's like it wasn't like he's hitting against, a random, double A rookie that's just coming up for a spot start. Like he hit a it's off Kershaw. Like it's a legit Hall of Fame pitcher. So that was the bright side.
Okay, I got
The
it.
only downside was Sevy. I mean, just couldn't get anybody out. And it was the location. From where I was sitting, it was hard to see, but when you showed the replay, everything was missing middle. And you do that against any major league team, you're in trouble. I don't care what pitcher you are. You do not miss with sliders down the middle. That just is a recipe for disaster. And Mookie Betts and Max Muncy just corked on him. So, but I think the real determining factor was that third game
Mm,
coming off the win, Aaron Judge being superhuman, makes another fantastic play, breaking the right field wall in Dodger
mm-hmm.
Stadium. But now you got a chance to win the series, and you're going up against a talented prospect, Bobby Miller, Domingo Herman. Kind of I just can't get on his good side because right when he's about to do good, he does something stupid. And I mean, he gets suspended. This is not the first time he got suspended this year. And, he'll either do that or he'll throw in a clunker and give you like a 2 innings, seven earned run game. So it's just hard to get on this guy's good side. But I was watching this game. This was probably, I would say, the second best game I have seen him pitch. And I think earlier this year, he had a no hitter going into the eighth. That was probably the best I've seen him. But for him to come out in Dodger Stadium and hold the Dodgers to a run, and really, he made one bad pitch when he hung a curve to JD Martinez. Everything else, he was hitting his spots. He was getting ahead with first pitch strikes. Everything was down at the knees. And that's what you got to do, especially when you're not a power pitcher. I want my power pitchers, Garrett Cole, Severino, establish the top of the strike zone with your fastball. But if you're not that kind of pitcher, you gotta live down. And he was establishing the curve down, the sinker was breaking down, and it was beautiful to see because Bobby Miller on the other side looks like a legit
That
ace.
kid. Oh, I
Is
can't wait to talk about him.
Yeah, you can get into it in a bit, but that dude was legit. So for Herman to really, go up and up with him was huge. And the Yankees were able to play small ball in this game, and I loved it. And it started with IKF.
Mm-hmm.
IKF had that huge bunt, kind of made the Dodgers make a play, and Gradwell threw, I don't even know where he was throwing the ball, but threw the ball away. And then runners on second and third, something that I stress about the Yankees, they gotta cash in. Good teams do not let runners get stranded on third with less than two outs. And just put the ball in play and good things will happen. So overall, I'm happy with the West Coast road trip. Volpe, at least he had, a little jolt at the end of the series, had the big home run, but he's still struggling. I need to see a little bit more. I'm a little concerned. Not gonna panic, but a little bit concerned just because of the average. Um, but DJ LeMahieu, a guy I love,
Oh, he's
he's been
struggling.
struggling. Whew. The strikeouts are way too high. I think I saw a stat 26% strikeout rate, which is absurd
Especially
because his
for
strikeout rate was
for
13.
him.
He
Yeah,
went
for
from 13 to 26
wow.
this year. That's so high. And for a guy who's a contact hitter, it that's concerning. So if DJ and Volpe can get going, especially DJ, he's the veteran. I need DJ to get going. If he can get going, get back to the top of the lineup. And you know, Gleyber Torres he's doing well in the leadoff spot, but he's not a typical leadoff hitter to me. He's better when he's right, hitting fifth in the fifth or sixth in the lineup, driving in runs. DJ is kind of that table sitter for our team. So I need DJ to get going. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm not gonna panic like how I was 4 weeks ago. We're 6 games back of the Rays, but it doesn't feel like 6 games. It feels like 4-3. Like we're clawing our way back a little bit. And as long as Mr. Judge is healthy, we'll be just fine, I think. And we're hanging on to that wild card spot. So at the end of the day, as long as we get into the dance and we're healthy in October, I like my chances. So great West Coast road trip. At least I got to see one win too.
Yeah, I mean, you saw a great one too, though. So yeah, Yankees looking good. Like I said, I was also looking forward to that series just because Yankees one of the powerhouses in the AL, so wanted to see how we would fare with you guys coming in, and I'm not gonna lie, that second game, uh, wasn't surprised at the outcome just because Michael Grove, who has been a starter that the Dodgers have been trying to establish this year. I don't think he's gonna be. Actually, he won't be a starter in the postseason. You know, our starting pitching has been pretty up and down for the most part. Surprisingly, our bullpen, at least the top guys, have been kind of holding it down for us.
Phillips.
Phillips, typically, Gratterall, isn't too bad. He's been a little bit shaky as of late, but ERA in the ones, right? And a couple other guys that have been pretty impressive to me. Julio up and down. He's been up and down this whole year. Throws a gem or he gets lit up. It's kind of no in between with him there. Kershaw, he's been pretty the consistent vet that we need him to be. Uh, giving us a chance there, picking up that first win against you guys. But yeah, I mean Michael Grove, he's kind of struggled a little bit all year. I think he's still getting used to um that major league level. I mean, his ERA is in the eights, so it's yeah, it's not looking too good. But Tony Gonsolin back now, and hopefully we get him going. But the guy I want to talk about is the one you pointed out. So Bobby Miller, he's been a rookie. He's our new flamethrower. It would appear. I don't know where we pull these guys from. I'm just glad we keep doing
How
it.
you guys get these guys,
I
man?
don't know how either because like I said early on, when we were kind of doing our season previews, that I was praying we get Walker Bueller back right at some point this year to make a playoff run. I didn't know I'd have another Walker Bueller in the middle of June ready to go because this guy's stuck. I mean, he's a power pitcher. He has the fastball and the breaking ball that he throws off of it. Different from what kind of Michael Grove is like as a pitcher. He has decent stuff, but I think he's still getting used to that major league level of hitting. But man, Bobby Miller has looked so good for us in the his first several starts that he's been making for us. I think he's gonna become one of the next, guys in this league that is just gonna be able to throw hard, be a power pitcher in LA as well. So um, he might be kind of one of the saviors of the season, I think, with a lot of the starting pitching struggling. Guys get a little bit nicked up here and there. Dustin May, you know, if Dustin May's healthy, his stuff is electric as well. But yeah, Bobby Miller, I'm really excited for him and what he can bring to this Dodgers organization going forward. Um, Offensively, yeah, it's been kind of up and down the whole year. I will say, thus far, my favorite pickup of the season has been JD Martinez because he has just been a like professional hitter for us. he started off a little slow, but he's been heating up as of late. Really like what he brings to our team. Just a consistent veteran bat right in the middle of our lineup, um, to help bring in like Freddie or um, Will Smith, who has been hitting well this year too. Still kind of top heavy. Our lineup's still kind of top heavy, but we get these performances from guys like Vargas, Chris Taylor every once in a while. Um, Jason Hayward has been a nice little power spark at times. So it's always kind of a different guy. We might not have the big flashy names like we used to, as the past several years. Obviously, Freddie Freeman, right? I think second in my opinion in MVP, behind Acuna, just because he's been hitting insane. I mean, Arias too, though. I mean, if that dude is hitting 400, it's kind of hard to argue against you know, that what he brings to the team. But yeah, Freddie's been so solid for us. Mookie, you just want Mookie to be a little bit more consistent because he'll have those 4 for 4 games, and then he'll go 0 for the next two. You you just wish Mookie's bat was a little bit more consistent, like in the Boston days. But his defense, you can never complain about Mookie's defense. He can play infield now. Um, I don't know. Nothing. I'm not too worried. I know Arizona has been looking really good. I know they're young, they're hungry, they're talented. We're currently tied for first. They actually have the tiebreaker for first right now. Um, in the West, but I just feel like it's June. They're a young team, I think, and maybe not quite used to that full season length just yet. How things are gonna go for them. I do expect to win the division. It maybe maybe Arizona will stay close. Maybe the Giants will creep in, but I don't know. I'm not scared of the Padres at all of making
I
a
was just
run.
gonna ask you that. You're not
I'm.
scared of the Padres, even with Tatis back?
I mean,
I mean, they look pretty bad right now,
he's
but
been
still.
back. Like Tatis has been back, and I know what they're capable of. Obviously, I mean, they might have on paper arguably one of the best hitting teams, right, in the league. Like honestly, Tatis, Soto, Machado, right? You got Cronenworth
Bogarts.
still, Bogarts. Like that's a star-studded team, and so I don't know what it is. They just can't figure out how to win, and I'm happy about it. I don't care. I hope they keep, whatever's going on, they keep doing it because, um, yeah, I'm scared of them heating up, obviously, but I haven't seen anything so far to worry about. So I'll just, not gonna get too pessimistic and worry about something that hasn't even happened yet. So Arizona, yeah, they look good. Giants are always gonna be consistent, I think. And I mean, even the Rockies are only 9.5 back, which isn't terrible for them. No one really talks about them at all. So
No,
it's been
don't play like you're worried about the Rockies.
I'm not worried. I'm just saying like they're not like a 15-win team, like um
The A's.
yeah. They're not, no one's like the A's. 12 wins. Oh man. I don't know. They gotta go to Vegas or something, man. Something's gotta change. I don't know
They
what
don't
it is.
deserve to go to Vegas.
I don't know. Something's gotta change though with them. But yeah, I'm not too worried. We're a good home team. We can score runs, and I think we're gonna have to hit this year. It's not gonna come down to our pitching. We're gonna have to hit with everyone else. So I don't know, Matt. Just really quick, wanted to ask you since you got to see a game in person. How is the pitch clock in person? Does it feel different from games you've watched in the past?
As a fan, the game felt a lot faster. Like it was like 2 hours, and I think it was maybe like the seventh inning. I was like, oh, like where did that come from? So I think it does make a difference. Fans definitely will notice it. And it was pretty cool to actually see the pitch clock violation like in person because the Yankees got called for a couple pitch clock violations in Seattle.
Oh
So I
wow.
was like, oh yeah, and they put it on the score like on the jumbotron. It's like the pitch clock rule, like the batter has been rewarded a strike because of the pitch clock or
Oh,
something. and then they change the count.
Oh,
So at
okay.
least they tell you like what's going on. It's not like you gotta watch the umpire, make the call. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
saw him make the call too, but yeah, they tell you live that hey, like there's a pitch clock violation. The new count is 0 and 2 or 0 and 1 or whatever the count
Mm-hmm.
is. So
Oh, okay.
I
So
think
you can
it's
feel it.
good.
You like it?
The game is faster. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I
I know we were skeptical, right? But so far, at least watching on TV, I think it's good. I still want to see how the playoffs are. I still think
That's
maybe
the
we
thing
add a
I'm
little
worried
bit,
about.
add a, you know, 3 to 5 seconds maybe for the playoffs. But um, I mean, it's gonna be hard to make an in-season change, right? So maybe next year it's 3 seconds longer or something. I don't know, something like that. But so far watching on TV, yeah, it hasn't it actually feels better watching it. I didn't think it was gonna make that big of a difference, or thought it was gonna feel too rushed, but I kind of like watching it, with this pitch clock. So, oh, good to know. Good to know. It's the in
Yeah.
person experience doesn't. So at least it doesn't feel like rushed, though, right? Like it doesn't feel like you're rushing. Like you're losing value, I guess, in the whole baseball experience. Then,
I think it makes the non-baseball fans want to go to the game now. I
mm,
think it's like, oh, like if you just go to socialize, hang out, drink
couple
beers,
like
like
2.5
yeah, it's
hours
like two and a half hour game now, and you're out of there. So instead of a 4.5 hour
game on a
pitcher's duel
Wednesday night.
that people don't like.
Uh-huh.
But I mean I agree with your point on the playoffs. Like maybe the regular season, I think the changes are looking pretty good. But I'm just still worried that something is gonna come down to a pitch clock in a key situation that's gonna decide someone's season. And I just can't see that being good for the game. I really can't. And I'm just praying to God that it's not my team. If it's the Red Sox, yeah, just let them violate as many rules as they want. But I don't want that to be the Yankees and for me to be heartbroken for 9 months until baseball starts again.
Okay.
But yeah, I like it. I like the pitch clock
Okay, good to know. Good
in
to know.
person.
Um, Alrighty then. Well, sounds good, I guess. That was a good pod. Nice little quick pod there. Not gonna go too long, but in our traditional fashion, since I didn't do one last week, it's your sports fact,
You
Matt.
didn't want to look up a
It's
fact on
your sports
Google.
fact. It is the fanatic sports fact. It's not the fan sports fact. It's the fanatic sports fact.
It is
So,
the Fan and the Fanatic
hey,
podcast.
hey, that you've been doing it this whole time. That is your segment. So, welcome back, Mr. Fanatic. Why don't you hit us with your sports fact of the day?
All right. Well, we're recording here on June 5th, and we'll go to the sport of tennis. In 2016, Novak Djokovic beat Andy Murray to win his first French title. And I think Djokovic now has the most Grand Slam titles in tennis, even more than Federer and Nadal, which is kind of hard to believe because I think Federer is the GOAT of tennis. That's my opinion. I don't watch tennis a lot, but I think Federer is the GOAT in just the way he plays. But the Joker, I guess the Joker in tennis, I should say,
Joker in tennis.
the Joker in tennis is making his way up the all-time ranks in that sport.
Okay, interesting. Tennis fact. Wasn't expecting that, but as usual, Matt, thank you for that. Okay, well, we'll wrap up this pod here. We're back. We'll be back for the rest of the NBA finals, so stick around for that. But other than that, as usual, everyone have a good week. Stay safe. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next week.